UK Prime Minister David Cameron has, I think, always emphasised that the European Union has many advantages. It's brought many advantages to the people of Britain. I mean, not least the single market, which offers access to some 500 million consumers. But the reason the Prime Minister embarked on a comprehensive renegotiation process with his fellow 27 heads of state and government across the EU was a feeling that the European Union in its current form didn't respond adequately to the demands placed on the region, and that there was a need for reform. And so he focused on four broad areas where the United Kingdom government really felt that reform was required. The first of those was around economic governance, where really the sense is that we feel the European Union needs to be flexible enough to cope with the demands and interests of a whole range of member states in very different positions. So, for example, Germany, which is a member of the Eurozone, Romania, which is not a member of the Eurozone but aspires to become a member, and the United Kingdom, which is not a member of the Eurozone and is quite happy with that position. A second area is around competitiveness, and this was really a feeling that the European Union needed to respond to the development of growth, the development of jobs, the needs and the wishes of the European people. So this means, for example, confronting excessive bureaucracy, cutting red tape, really focusing the European Union around competitiveness, growth and jobs. A third area is around sovereignty. We feel that there should be a mantra of national where possible, EU legislation only where it's truly necessary, a renewed focus on national parliaments, and as part of that, specifically for the United Kingdom, a removal of the commitment to ever closer union, because the UK doesn't feel that we are committed or wish to be committed to ever closer union. And then the fourth area was around welfare and migration. And part of the background here is the specificities of the UK's welfare system. We have a welfare system which really puts the onus on getting poor people, disadvantaged people into work. And so a big portion of the welfare system in the UK, much higher than most other EU member states, is around in-work benefits. And we're very pleased with the result. The Prime Minister had a comprehensive discussions with every one of his 27 colleagues, including a very productive visit here to Romania on the 9th of December last year, where he met with President Iohannis, Prime Minister Cioloș. The outcome, a discussion, an agreement at the February European Council in 18th and 19th of February, which produced a binding agreement, a legally binding agreement, which delivered a lot of the reform that we were looking for. And I think on the basis of that reform, the Prime Minister felt that it was right that we should go to the referendum set for the 23rd of June, with a view that the United Kingdom should stay in the EU. None of the options are straightforward. Every one involves a different degree of rights, but also a different degree of obligations. And I think what is clear is that in those models, for example, those of Norway and Switzerland, which involve the closest degree of relationship with the European Union, and therefore the strongest access to the single market, also involve the highest degree of responsibilities, including actually acceptance of a lot of the free movement provisions that we see for full members of the European Union. So I think it certainly would be a false distinction to talk about free movement for members of the European Union, but something entirely different for non-members of the European Union. At the timetable and looking at what actually with implications of a vote to leave would actually mean. There is a provision in the treaty, it's Article 50 of the treaty, which provides for a withdrawal. And what Article 50 demonstrates is that a withdrawal is a negotiation, and it's a negotiation which would involve all 27 member states of the what would be the all 27 member states of the European Union, plus the Commission, plus Parliament. Inevitably, in any negotiation with so many players, it's not going to be a straightforward negotiation. What would need to be done is a kind of unpicking of all of the rights and obligations that have been established up to now, the development of an alternative relationship between Britain and the European Union, and also the development of alternative third-party relationships between the UK and third countries. Our policy paper is that this would be a long process. It could be up to a decade or even more. There was a discussion in the European Committee in the House of Lords, chaired by Lord Boswell, on exactly this issue, and the House of Lords Committee came to pretty much the same conclusion. This would be a very long and difficult process. Among the things that would need to be negotiated, would need to be discussed, would need to be sorted out, is the whole issue around the acquired rights of European Union citizens who are living, including Romanian citizens who are living in the United Kingdom, and it would also relate to the acquired rights of British citizens, something like 1.2 million British citizens who live in other member states of the European Union. So I can't give you an answer as to exactly what would mean, because that's something that would need to be negotiated, but what I can say is that negotiation certainly wouldn't be straightforward.